Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about being an empath. I am an empath, and today we're going to discuss as to what it is to be an empath, what are the pros of being an empath, and what are some areas that we must be careful of if we are an empath, right? So, what is an empath? So, first of all, I'd like to clarify that a person who is an empath and a person who has high degrees of empathy for somebody, or not high degrees per se, but if somebody has empathy for somebody, they're two different things. You can have empathy and still not be an empath. Empaths are people who are extremely receptive of other people's emotions, thoughts, energies, and can pick up their emotions, thought, energies, and make it their own. So if you have a friend who is going through a loss, they've lost their parent, they've lost their pet, and they're in extreme degree of grief. Now, if you're not an empath, you might feel empathetic towards that person, you might feel compassionate, but you wouldn't make their grief, their loss your own. But if you're an empath, there are high chances that when you meet this person, you might feel the same sensations or feelings or emotion that person is feeling. For example, a heavy chest, a headache, or feeling like crying, emotionally overwhelmed. If you're an empath, you can feel the same as well, and you can carry that home and make it your own and like sort of be in that energy for a while, unless you know how to separate your energy from somebody else's. Now, what are some positives of being an empath, right? It's not that being an empath is a bad thing or you have to be scared of it. Honestly, there are a lot of benefits. First of all, I think the biggest benefit to being an empath is that it helps you interpret other people's emotions and energy states. So if because I'm an empath, I can tell if somebody is toxic for me, is positive for me, and their energy just like speaks to empaths, like other people's energy speaks to empaths. So if somebody is negative, is resentful, might not have good intentions for you, you as an empath would feel it because you're perceptive and receptive to other people's emotions, energies, and thoughts, especially if they're about you. So that's a great benefit, especially when it comes to judging people, or when I say judging, as to like identifying what's good and what's not good, or who's good and who's not good for you. It's also very beneficial to be an empath because you can have high degrees of empathy for yourself, not just for others, which comes in handy, especially if you're going through a tough time and you find yourself in this spiral of negative thinking or self criticism. You can internalize that empath ability and use it to empathize with yourself and your situation. I've done that many a times whenever I have gone through difficult situations, traumatic situations. I have just sat with myself and literally reflected the whole empath gift that I have towards my inner child so that I could hold space for my inner child and myself. Um, Another benefit to being an empath is that we can have extreme degrees of empathy for others. Now, when I say others, it could be people, it could be plants, it could be animals, it could also be spaces, because we are also sensitive to spaces, because space is what? Just energy, right? So it could also be spaces. And when we have extreme degrees of empathy, we can show up as people who bring forward light, bring forward love towards other people and shine it upon them. So, because we live in a fast paced world, it's very not rare, but it's not common either for, say, somebody in the corporate world to stop and really invest in how the other person is feeling, or not just a corporate world, just in our families nowadays. I think it's things are changing wherein we don't really talk as much about our emotions within families. So but with an empath, what happens is that because we're so perceptive about others emotions, we can actually invest in healing and acknowledging other people's emotions very deeply, and that initiates a healing process for the other person, and the other person feels heard and feels seen. So that's a very huge benefit for empaths. And which is why empaths do really good in service-based businesses like healing, coaching, mentoring, because there you can interpret your clients' emotions and empathize with them. And that's what clients are looking for, right, in a session, to be seen and heard. That's what I do in my sessions as well. So it's very important to make sure that the client is feeling heard, feeling seen. And I think being an empath brings forward the gifts of making other people feel seen and heard. So that's a huge benefit. Now, what are some things that you should be wary about? Because empaths have the gift of picking up on other people's energies very easily, we can sort of attract a lot of negative energy. Um, and it's important to learn energy protection methods using tools that work for you to guard your energy body. Because when you don't, you can absorb all that energy, make it your own. Again, it's unconscious, you're not trying to do it on purpose, it's just how we're wired. And that sort of starts if we don't clear that energy, if we don't separate our energy from others, we can start having emotional and physical health issues. In fact, I used to sort of run a lot, and I started picking up really low energy from somebody, and it started affecting my limbs. And for a long time, when I did not know I was an empath, I could not run because it started affecting my legs. I started feeling pain, I started feeling stressed out. It was bad. So it could be quite debilitating if you don't look after your energy body. Um, Another sort of another management requirement for an empath is to have a good periods of rest, because when you're an empath you can be easily stimulated, by which I mean you can be open and receptive to a lot of information and input, and if you don't process that you can feel extremely overwhelmed and overworked almost. And if you keep working, you can have emotional health problems. Again, things to stay away from is overworking, and just a very very fast paced life, or a pace that does not is not compatible with your natural empath gifts or natural pace of life. So that's another important thing. And the third important thing I'd say is that empaths need to make sure that they learn techniques to separate their energy, their emotions, and their thoughts from other people. Because we are open, receptive, perceptive of other people's energies, emotions, and thoughts, and because we can absorb that and make it our own, we can start living a different reality altogether. So if somebody starts picking up energies from a very sad person for a very long time, a person who's an empath and a happy person can become sad, and that can just become their sort of way of life, way of mindset, just looking at everything from a sad lens. And that could be very, very, I want to say dangerous, but I don't want to scare you, so I'm going to say disadvantageous. So you have to be careful about guarding your energy and your empath abilities, especially from narcissistic people or toxic people or vampire energies, or just people who are like resentful, um, or like are just bad people generally, I think, or don't have good energy. Like there are some people who sort of are into really bad habits like drugs and alcohol, or like smoking, or just like seeing a lot of negative, violent, or invasive, intrusive shows, or just sort of absorbing content or information that's not mm, light based, for a lack of a better word. And when we start absorbing energy from such people, even if we are having good thoughts, pure energy, uh, we can absorb dark energy and it can become ours, and we can start having dark thoughts. So it's really important to separate our energy from other people. So that's about being an empath. What are the positives of being an empath? What are some things to look out for? Now, you might be wondering, great information, but now what do I do, right? Like, I know that I'm an empath, I understand that I have positives, I have negatives, but I don't know any energy protection tools. I don't know how to separate my energy from other people. I don't know how to not make other people's problems, energies, emotions, thoughts my own. So, what do I do? Very, very, very good question. Great questions, actually, plural. But I would like to let you know that um, I take one on one coaching sessions for sensitive people. And by the way, I don't think I introduced myself. I am Pranita Rao. I am an intuitive abstract artist, an energy worker, an angelic medium. Um, I also have a degree in dentistry and science communication, but that's a topic for some other day. But I work with highly sensitive people, spiritual seekers, painters, and healers around the globe and support them in uh, moving from a place of self neglect to self love with the help of art, with the help of angelic guidance, with the help of coaching. um, and I majorly focus on helping individuals connect with their intuition, connect with their own gifts, because a lot of empaths have a lot of energy gifts, emotional gifts, cognitive gifts, psychic gifts. And when we learn about these gifts, our life gets much, much more simpler, easier, creative, and less complicated. So, if you're interested, you can book a free 30-minute clarity call with me through the link in the description, and we can speak about your challenges of being an empath, how I can best support you, and how we can work together long term to shift you from a place of self neglect to self love. Wouldn't you want that? So, if you find that useful and if it resonates with you, I hope to see you in the call. If not, that's fine too. I hope you enjoyed the content here. If you did, please do uh, click the like button, share button, and drop a comment about what you've learned today. And if you're an empath and you already know that, please do share your empath stories. I'd love to hear from you. And please do not forget to subscribe to my channel for more educational content on sensitivity, art, and spirituality. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you have a great day. Bye.